That confirms it. Goku is a new type. Two things came out recently, a video going over some of the gameplay, and a new trailer showing off some characters. Let's start with the second of those two, that being the character trailer. They showed Super Trunks, Dispo, Kakunsa, Max Power Roshi, Nappa, Burter, Toppo, Jace, Berserk Kale, Full Power Broly, and Hit. That's a total of 11 characters. So not a huge amount this time, but the grid is starting to fill out, with characters going in places that don't make any sense to me. For the most part, this doesn't change much. It seems to be following the most likely scenario I thought up, of them going heavy on Z and Super. There is one thing I'll bring up here, and that's how I've been looking at the roster. That being counting how many characters are being added that weren't in BT3, and then finding characters from BT3 to remove. For the second trailer in a row, we have the hexagonal grid greeting us and getting filled out more. As of this video, we have 19 characters that are confirmed that need places. As Sparking Zero has 3 more character slots than BT3, it means that 16 characters from BT3 need to be removed to make space for. And we all know this is hardly everyone that will get added from Super. Why have Kakunsa and not Ribrianne, for example? This is just further showing that something has to give. It gets even worse when you start to think of how many characters who are likely to be in the game from Super 2. Just naming a few of the expected characters that we haven't seen yet: 2 forms for Kale, 2 for Caulifla, 2 for Kefla, 2 for Cabba, Rosie, 2 for Ribrianne, Giant Bergamo, God of Destruction Toppo, 2 for Goku Black, 3 for Zamasu, and Golden Frieza. That by itself adds 19 more characters for a total of 35 that need to go from BT3. And I didn't even try to make an exhaustive list right there either. So what could be on the chopping block? Dragon Ball, GT, and the movies seem the most likely, but some of the more side characters could also be in this group. And no, I'm not counting DLC for this. While I do think the game will get DLC, I'm looking at the roster for the base game, as that is what we'll all be paying for when the game comes out. The quality of the roster will certainly be an important thing to know before buying the game. I'll look at the DLC when it gets announced, but that is still way off, as the game isn't even out yet. So we go back to waiting for more character reveals. But that was only part of what we saw. The other side of what we saw was actual gameplay. And while I need to actually play the game in order to really judge it, there are still some things we can talk about now. The first part that they showed was pretty good. They didn't show off anything too crazy here, but if this is going to be the speed of the general combat, it should be fun to watch at least. My favorite part of this section is this part right here. Gut Punch to teleport juggle to Super. This is the kind of change I love. Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the outfit change. It happens easier now it seems, but it also happens more seamlessly. The second part starts with 2 people charging Ki. The fun thing here is it seems the rocks Vegeta is standing on when he hits max power are destroyed. It cuts away before you can really see if it did or not, or if it just made an explosion. Then Vegeta shows off what seems to be an infinite combo you could do while in max power in BT3 before using his ultimate. And this is where things take a turn. That ultimate was incredibly underwhelming. Watching Goku get hit by that beam is so bad. It reminds me of what getting hit in Xenoverse is like. There's no impact to be felt watching it land. Now this might just be from things not being done, as they show ultimates in the character trailer getting engulfed by ultimates there. So I certainly hope that the impact gets fixed up from whatever build this was. Now we enter the last part of the fight with both characters transforming. This is mostly what we had in part 1, but showing off a few more things. There are some things here I wish I could actually play the game to really be able to narrow down and talk about, but basically this all seems familiar. It all finishes by showing off a beam struggle. Thankfully, they took out destroying your controller to win and gave us a system from, I think it was Budokai 3? Anyway, once Goku wins, it shows what I was talking about with that final flash needing to do more when it hit. My only complaint here is the finishing effect on the beam is too short. The explosion at the end doesn't even last a second. It was so short that I had to watch it in slow motion to even tell what actually happened. Letting the explosion play out a bit would actually make it impactful instead of leaving you confused. as this plays out in general across the whole thing, but they have retooled Blastocks. Now either they have just added on to what they did before, or completely changed how they're used, we still need to find out. But it seems big defensive actions will now be limited based on these. And that's more or less it. Without being able to play it, there isn't much more I can comment on. There is still a lot more to see of this game. In particular, I want to know what game modes it will have. And since we still don't have a release date yet, there's still plenty of time for them to show us more.
Vegeta, let's go again. That okay with you?